Hey, Travis Daggett with Cornerstone Properties. I'm in Junction City, Oregon. We've purchased a number of properties in Junction City, and I wanted to just go through an example of one to illustrate some of the problems that people have when they're selling their house traditionally. And by traditionally, I mean listing it with a real estate agent. So there are two ways in general that you can sell a property. One is that way, to list it with a real estate agent, and that involves putting a sign in the yard, putting a lockbox on the door, generally involves cleaning it up, doing what needs to be done so that it looks good for the photos, also open houses. It involves sometimes a number of offers before getting the right offer, and it generally takes months. In the market right now, it may only take a few months, but it could take 6 months, depending on the market, could take even longer. And the other way to sell a house is by pushing the easy button. And that's selling it quickly and selling it to somebody for cash, as is, with no contingencies. That's what we do. So here's an example of how that can work. We purchased a property from a man who had inherited the property from his mom, and when he inherited the property, he also inherited the tax deferral. And in the state of Oregon, there's a tax deferral program for seniors and disabled people that allows them to not pay their property taxes, and that lasts for as long as, well, until they sell the property. So that amount keeps on accruing, and we've seen those tax deferral amounts be in the tens of thousands. In this case, it was tens and tens of thousands. I think it was around $60,000. So he wanted to sell the house. The house needed a lot of work. As you can imagine, he hadn't done anything to keep the house up and do repairs and renovations as needed, because he wasn't even able to pay the property taxes. So there was no mortgage on the property, but the taxes owed were quite high, and those taxes are deferring at a pretty high interest rate. So if he was to sell that traditionally, first of all, he had a roommate living there. Just the conditions were not good. I'd be surprised if they could even show the house, walk people through it. It was just not well suited for that. So as far as showing the property and going through that whole process, and his ability to look at offers and evaluate them, and then for someone to go through with closing and get a lender that would issue an appraisal and would approve the property, that could be really difficult. Passing inspection could have been really difficult with all the work that needed to be done. So in our case, we took a look at the property. Right away, we were able to tell him what we could pay him for the property. We came to an agreement on price, and then we were able to close on his schedule. So he needed some time to be able to get his roommate out. He needed time to be able to find another place for himself to live. I think he had a motor home, and so we were able to help him make those arrangements and close on his timetable. And he could be done with the property. We took over all the hassle, and he could focus on the rest of his life and move on. So that's an example of a traditional sale versus selling it to someone like us, as is, for cash, and some of the problems that people can run into with a traditional listing process and how we can help. If you have a house that needs work, or maybe you have unpaid taxes or tax deferral, or even you've missed mortgage payments, or the bank has started foreclosure, if you've inherited a property, maybe it's in probate or needs to go through probate, any of those situations, we can help. We've helped many people in those circumstances. So again, give us a call. I'm Travis Daggett with Cornerstone Properties, and I'm here in Junction City, Oregon.
That was easy.